Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive.
Mm.
Today, we're going to be looking at the kind of crazy journey of learning new things.
It really is a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially what we can learn about ourselves along the way.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's one of the most fascinating aspects of it, that kind of self-discovery that comes with pushing our boundaries.
Exactly, and the stories we're going to look at today really highlight that in some pretty amazing ways. I think a lot of people are going to relate to these.
I agree. There's a real universality to these experiences, even though they're about specific individuals. The emotions and challenges they face resonate with all of us.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Our first story introduces us to Millie. She's in a brand new country trying to learn a new language, English, and navigate a whole new culture. Talk about a challenge, right?
Oh, definitely. That's a situation ripe with potential for both awkwardness and frustration. You're constantly trying to make sense of things that are unfamiliar and communicate effectively.
And there's this scene where she's in English class trying to answer a question. And, well, let's just say some of her classmates aren't exactly the most supportive.
Yeah, that feeling of being an outsider, of being self-conscious when you're trying something new, it can be really tough. It makes you want to just shrink back and avoid the spotlight.
Oh, totally. It's like that little voice in your head saying, what if I mess up?
Yeah,
What if everyone judges me?
exactly. And that's a voice that can really hold us back from taking risks and trying new things. But thankfully for Millie, she meets Fanny.
Yes, Fanny. Her saving grace.
Fanny becomes this incredible friend and ally, and she doesn't just offer empty encouragement, she actually takes action. They start meeting after school to practice their English, and they even get creative with it, like using real-life situations at the supermarket to learn new words.
It's like they turn learning into this fun game.
Yeah.
And then they even analyze movie scenes to figure out those subtle nuances of language.
What they've stumbled onto is a really powerful learning technique, which is immersion. Instead of just memorizing vocabulary from a textbook, they're actually using the language in real-world context. And that kind of active engagement makes a huge difference.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was just thinking how much easier it is to remember things when you actually use them in real life versus just reading about them in a book
It's true. Have you ever noticed that yourself?
all the time. And it makes me think about how important it is to have a supportive community like a Fanny in your life, someone who believes in you and encourages you to step outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely. Having that kind of support system can make all the difference in the world. It gives you the confidence to experiment, to make mistakes, and to learn without feeling judged. It creates this safe space for growth.
It's like having your own personal cheering section. Who are the Fannies in your life? You know, those people you can always turn to for guidance and encouragement when you're facing a challenge.
It's a great question to reflect on. And on the flip side, have you ever been a Fanny for someone else? That kind of support can be incredibly powerful and fulfilling.
Okay, so we've seen how important support is when tackling something new. But sometimes the challenges we face aren't about learning a specific skill or language. Sometimes they're about adapting to unexpected situations. And that's where our next story takes us. We meet Layla, who's all excited about moving into this cool new neighborhood.
Sounds promising so far.
Right. But then she finds out she'll be living with her landlord. And this landlord has some very specific ideas about what makes a peaceful living environment. Let's just say there are rules.
Uh-oh. This sounds like it might be a bit more than just adjusting to a new apartment.
Oh yeah, this is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
She's got a curfew, no friends over, and even the music has to be kept down after a certain hour.
Wow, that's pretty restrictive. It sounds like Layla's in for a crash course in flexibility and resilience.
Exactly. She's being forced to adapt to a situation that's completely different from what she expected. And that can be really tough. It pushes you to reevaluate your priorities and figure out how to make the best of a less than ideal situation.
It really tests your ability to cope with the unexpected. And let's face it, life throws us curveballs all the time. So being able to adjust and adapt is a valuable skill to develop.
So how does Layla handle all this?
Well, I'm not going to spoil the whole story, but let's just say there are some surprising twists and turns along the way, and she learned some valuable lessons about herself and about the people around her.
This is getting good. I can't wait to hear what happens next. But first, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the rest of Layla's story. All right, so we left off with Layla trying to navigate life with a very, shall we say, particular landlord.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
It sounds pretty intense, all those rules and restrictions. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you even begin to adjust to something like that?
It's definitely a challenge, but it also presents an opportunity for growth. It forces you to confront your own expectations and learn to adapt to a situation that's outside of your comfort zone.
I guess that's true. In a way, it's kind of like learning a new skill, like learning how to be flexible and resilient.
Exactly. It's about developing that cognitive flexibility, being able to shift your thinking and behavior when things don't go according to plan. And that's a skill that can be applied to so many different areas of life, not just dealing with difficult landlords.
Okay, so back to Layla's story. I'm dying to know what happens next. Does she eventually find a way to make peace with the situation, or does she end up moving out?
Well, without giving too much away, there's a really interesting turning point in the story. Layla gets sick.
Oh, no.
And guess who ends up taking care of her?
I don't know the landlord.
The landlord. That's right. This strict, rule-bound landlord shows a completely unexpected side of himself. He takes care of it. Layla brings her soup, makes sure she's comfortable.
Wow, that's surprising. I mean, it just goes to show you can't always judge a book by its cover, right?
It's a powerful reminder that people are complex and multifaceted. We often make assumptions about others based on limited information or first impressions, but there's always more to the story.
It's like we build these narratives in our heads about who people are, and then we filter all our interactions with them through that lens.
Exactly. And sometimes those narratives can prevent us from seeing the full picture, from recognizing the humanity in others, even those who might seem difficult or different from us.
You know, it makes me think about all the times I've probably misjudged someone or jumped to conclusions based on a superficial interaction. Have you ever done that?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's something we all do to some extent. It's human nature to try to categorize and make sense of the world around us. But it's important to be aware of those biases and to be open to the possibility that we might be wrong.
So how does Layla react to the landlord's unexpected act of kindness? Does it change her perception of him?
It definitely shifts things. It opens up a dialogue between them and allows them to see each other in a new light.
I bet that was a powerful experience for both of them. It makes you realize that sometimes the most challenging situations can lead to the most unexpected and meaningful connections.
It's true. And it also highlights the importance of communication and understanding. You know, even when people have different values or ways of living, it's possible to find common ground and build relationships.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of support and the challenges of adapting to unexpected situations. But what about those challenges that come from within ourselves? You know, those personal weaknesses or insecurities that we all have.
Ah, yes, the internal struggles. Those can be some of the toughest ones to overcome.
Exactly. And that's where our next story takes us. It's about a couple, John and a woman named, I don't recall her name right now.
That's okay. We can just call her John's partner for now.
Yeah, John's partner. So they decide to tackle their weaknesses head on, but they do it in this really fun and relatable way.
Oh, I love this story. It's so full of humor and heart.
Right. So John, he's not exactly the most athletic guy. Let's just say his attempts at exercise are more comical than impressive.
And John's partner, while she's not exactly a master chef, her cooking experiments tend to result in more disasters than delicious meals.
Yeah, there's this whole incident with bacon that's pretty hilarious.
Oh, yeah, the infamous bacon incident.
But what's so great about them is that they don't take themselves too seriously. They embrace their flaws, and they use humor as a way to disarm their insecurities.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're not perfect, and that's okay. We're going to work on ourselves, but we're going to have fun doing it.
Exactly. And I think that's such a healthy attitude to have towards self-improvement. You know, so many people get caught up in this pressure to be perfect, to present this flawless image to the world.
And that kind of pressure can be paralyzing. It can make you afraid to even try for fear of failure.
But John and his partner, they're like, nope, this is the warts and all, and we're going to laugh along the way.
And that's where the real growth happens, when you can accept yourself for who you are and then strive to improve without judgment or self-criticism.
I love that idea of embracing the messiness of the process. You know, so often we focus on the end goal, the perfect outcome, but it's the journey that really shapes us.
It's true. And it's in those messy, imperfect moments that we often learn the most about ourselves and about the people around us.
So how does this whole self-improvement project play out for John and his partner? Do they actually manage to make any progress, or do they just end up laughing at their own failures?
Well, they definitely have their share of setbacks and hilarious moments, but there's this one scene that really captures the essence of their journey. John's really struggling to stick to his workout routine.
Oh, I can relate to that. It's so easy to hit that snooze button, especially when it's cold and dark outside.
Right. But instead of getting frustrated or giving up on him, his partner comes up with this brilliant idea. She offers to make him a special breakfast Eggs Benedict if he completes his workout.
Ooh, that's good motivation. I love Eggs Benedict.
Me too. But here's the thing. His partner has never used Eggs Benedict before. In fact, she admits she's not a very good cook.
Oh, this is getting interesting. So what happens? Does she end up burning the house down?
No, no, thankfully it doesn't go that far. But she does struggle a bit, and this is where their dynamic gets even more interesting. John, who's actually been working on his cooking skills, offers to help her.
Oh, that's sweet. They're supporting each other's growth in such a genuine way.
Exactly. They end up in the kitchen together, laughing, sharing tips, and creating something delicious in the process. It's a beautiful example of how we can learn and grow together when we let go of the need to be perfect and embrace the messiness of it all.
This whole story reminds me of that saying two heads are better than one. Sometimes we just need that extra bit of support and encouragement to push through our own limitations.
And sometimes we're the ones who get to offer that support and encouragement to others. It's a two-way street, you know? We all have something to teach and something to learn.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of learning and self-discovery, what are some key takeaways that we can apply to our own lives?
Well, I think one of the biggest lessons is that it's never too late to try something new, to step outside our comfort zones and embrace the inevitable challenges that come with growth.
And don't forget the importance of community. Find your fannies, those people who will cheer you on, offer a helping hand, and remind you of your strengths when you doubt yourself.
Because in the end, the most rewarding journeys are often the ones we share.
Well said. That's a beautiful note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the messy, wonderful world of learning. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep connecting with those who inspire you.
And keep embracing those unexpected moments of learning and growth. They're often the most transformative ones.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks, everyone. See you next time for another deep dive.